Salutations, my friends, and thank you for tuning in to a very special edition of Factions of Freedom. This episode was definitely a wild ride. That's all I can really say right off the bat. This is an episode with me and Third Eye Opener, and like I said, you know, I asked him to put the muzzle on, but it's like trying to wrestle a hurricane. I'll tell you that much. You're definitely in for an epic episode. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. All right, so I guess let's bring it back in. We got good energy today, brand new day. Nothing, man. Let's hit it hard.
Let's get some intro out.
All right, so I'm gonna clap to synchronize everything. Salutations, my friends, and thank you for tuning into a very special edition of Factions of Freedom. I'm your host, Noisera, Freedom Faction, whichever one you prefer, and I'm actually joined by my awesome friend Adam of Third Eye Opener. Adam, my friend, how are you?
What's up? It's good to be back on the show. Thanks a lot for having me back on.
Well, you know, man, it is always a pleasure to have like a like-minded individual on to talk about real heady stuff, what's going on in the news, what's going on in the world, and like why we feel like we have this responsibility to like do this type of stuff, you know. And on top of that, we had a little bit of a technical error yesterday.
Oh yeah, we botched.
Yeah.
We did about 40 minutes. The first 20 we scrapped, and then because I got angry, and then the second 20 we just didn't have recording software going or something crashed. So
Yep.
That's where we're at today. We actually thought that it might have been purported by the system, as a matter of fact, because I mean I don't know what you figured out that was. It probably wasn't anything to do with like a deliberate attack, but it seems like cyber warfare is a real method of the elite at this point. So doing anything they can to kind of regain control of the internet, which of course is the Wild West because there's no laws dictating what you can and cannot do. It's regulated by those within your country. America has freedom of speech. Did you see the speech that Trump gave yesterday?
About what? No, I actually didn't.
The internet. This ass clown. He said that we have thousands of people being recruited. We have to talk to Bill Gates. We got to talk to people who know. I'm like, what are you talking about? What does Bill Gates know? Tell me what Bill Gates knows. He knows how to depopulate people. Did everybody miss that speech?
Mm-hmm.
What are they talking about? We got to talk to Bill Gates. What are we going to do? Depopulate the internet? Give it polio like you did those 30,000 kids in India? Get out of here.
I'll tell you what they're going to start doing. They're going to start charging for content. But I think I saw that clip that you're talking about where he's just like they are communicating on all kinds of different stuff on the internet, talking about how ISIS is recruiting. He's trying to say that, saying that the internet is a tool for ISIS.
But we fund ISIS. Why is he using that? He has said unanimously over and over and over again that the American government supports, funds, and arms Syrian rebels. Who does everybody think the Syrian rebels are? That's ISIS. Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. Those are the people that we fund and arm. The same Israelis that we gave $38 billion to last year, while Flint, Michigan doesn't have water to drink.
Yep.
Those people. That's who we're funding right now.
There's been like all kinds of different people in the military have actually come out and talked about how they're doing that, how they're arming, funding, training those air quotes Syrian rebels that end up later being ISIS. They're literally training the people that are out there to kill them. There are people that
later that they turn into ISIS, bro. They're ISIS. I think that they are ISIS the entire time.
Oh no, they are. I mean, well, look at what's going on with these Syrian refugees. Where are the women and children? These are we're being invaded. These are middle-aged people who are coming in here wearing casual clothes, trying to scope out the environment, basically letting all the floodgates in. Dude, that is a whole nother thing. Like, where are the women and children?
Bro, that's what they're trying to do. You know that, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
There's no children. That's what you'll notice when I venture the borders of South America, which is always. Now I'm not always crossing and passport stamping. Sometimes I'm going on boats, and I've been on planes and helicopters before too. But when I cross borders on foot, I always see a line of like Uganda refugees, Togo like from Senegal, like places that you wouldn't think even have refugees. Are they Muslim or Christian? I don't know. I mean, a lot of them are Christian. I know that. The Senegalese are Christian. But a lot of these people, bro, they are Muslim, but not like my version of Muslim, where it's like an updated version of peace-loving Christianity. I'm talking about the type of Islam where they are
militant.
Very angry with, yes.
They are militant.
Militant as fuck, bro.
You know,
and they're being funneled through the borders.
You know what's weird is I never would have thought that I'd be talking to you about all this stuff, but I'm glad that we're talking about this, because when people consider you racist, when you start talking about this, we're being slowly invaded. Like, let's talk about this real quick. The multicultural agenda, like why they're, I don't know if you've seen, but Europe's basically like on fire. They're having like all kinds of different attacks and trying to like cover it up. They're sending all kinds of different mass swaths of people to different places to destabilize things. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I have. You're seeing in a lot of the smaller European countries. And then Sweden, right, is having a pretty bad time.
Yep, Sweden is having a bad time. They're debating changing their flag because of how many different people are coming in there.
I mean, the real problem, bro, is like, you know, Islam is great. First and foremost, I'm a follower of the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I'm a follower of the teachings of Jesus Christ. I don't read the Talmud anymore because I don't like what these mother are doing to the planet. I love religions, but it's a control mechanism. It's all a control mechanism. And the way that they're using Islam right now, Zionism, Wahhabism, are using Islam to
wipe out Christianity.
Right. And I mean, I don't know, bro. I'm pretty scared of Christians at this point, so maybe that's a good thing, but I'm not really down for genocide of any people. And if we're going to genocide any people, it sure as shit shouldn't be the Christians.
Well, I feel like what's happening right now is they're saying that because they feel justified because of the Crusades, and that's it. Because Christianity went through and basically just spiritually cleansed and indoctrinated all of Western civilization. They're saying that now, and like you said, they're using Muslims are using Islam to basically do that, to come through and spiritually cleanse all this stuff. Like you said, there's a more updated, moderate, peaceful version of people who are actually trying to reform Islam, and then you have people who are following.
Not even reform, dude, because Islam wasn't supposed to be a violent religion, but during Prophet Muhammad's time on Earth, I believe that Islam was involved in a few wars, because Christianity was slaughtering them by the hundreds of thousands, and it was kind of like they were, you know, Islam has always been that lion in the corner that you don't attack, but if you do attack it, they'll act on it, you know, because they're, bro, from what I've seen in the world, from all of the people I've met, including the Somalians at the refugee gates in South America, like, these are good people, bro. I haven't met any that I think are bad people. I've met far more Christians than I would ever think are horrible, 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 horrible human beings than I've ever met Muslims. Ever. Like, there's 2.8 billion Muslims on Earth, is that correct? That's an astonishing number of people. Like, if Islam wanted people dead, they'd all be dead. I've personally never met a Muslim that was like a threat to me. Personally. So, and I'm one of these white kids that rolls through the hood, bro. Like, I used to be a crackhead, a meth head. I've been in like places that, you know, drug dealer places that are just super freaking weird for a person like me. And I've seen a lot of these people just doing really weird things, and I've never had a problem.
Real shady stuff, real sketchy stuff. So if you could you try to explain some of the stuff between, like, I guess, like the Muslim culture in Saudi Arabia, like how it ties together?
It doesn't.
Doesn't?
That's the problem. See, people identify Saudi Arabia, that the nation, as a Muslim nation. It is not. That is a Zionist nation. Wahhabism and Zionism are the exact same thing. They're just working. Israel is working from here, and Saudi Arabia is working from here, and they're ethnically cleansing the Middle East, and they're meeting in the middle. So are they?
So would it be effective to say, or would it be appropriate to say that they're actually using, and this is something we've already covered, they're using Islam to basically go through the Middle East and continue this Zionist, the protocols of the learned elders of Zions?
But it's not Islam. Like,
it's an amalgamation. I hear you. It's definitely not Islam, but they're using like mercenaries. They're not. It's a cover story, basically.
I think that that's the CIA and Mossad. I don't
Yeah,
actually,
no, I definitely, I'm right there with you. That's what I think. I think they're definitely hiring like mercenaries, hiring CIA, hiring Mossad, hiring like all kinds of different people, soldiers of fortune, to basically go through and train, like we said before, train people on the surface, but at the same time use that as a cover to go through in the Middle East and start destabilizing stuff.
Oh well, of course. I mean, that's been the plan since I think '95 when we went into I don't know what year it was because I don't pay any attention, but when we went into Iraq in the first place. Our whole goal was to destabilize that entire region of the world for the expansion of Greater Israel. So it's not like this is a new thing.
Nope.
What's new is that these Muslims that say that they're Muslim, I don't agree with that. I think that they're Arabs, but I'm just going to say they're Arabs because fuck that. They're not following the Prophet's word, and that's bullshit. Sorry about my language.
It's the start. We're okay. We're still going.
Okay. I don't think these people are being manipulated, bro. You know how easy it is to pay a poor kid, $50,000 cash to blow himself up in a courtyard when his family's starving? You know what I'm saying? They're backing people into corners. These are not suicide bombings. Never existed until America put boots on the ground in the Middle East.
Yep.
There was not one suicide bombing in the history of the Middle East until Americans were there. That should say something. Either we are the bombers, or we are making them so very desperate that they're blowing themselves up. Either way, that's a problem, and it has to stop.
I agree.
It's bananas.
So can you explain real quick the Donald Trump's decision to declare, what was it, Jerusalem the capital of Israel?
So they have to start this they have to really kick World War III off, right? They have to have people on board. Like, what a better way to position the Muslim world into fighting back than taking their sacred space? I mean, he just blatantly said to the entire nation of Islam, like, we do not care about you. You do not have a home here. That's what he said. It's a big, big, big deal, bro. And I've seen more Palestinians kidnapped by IDF terrorists in the past 46 hours than I've seen in my entire career on Instagram.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane, bro. They're beating these kids. I mean, it's bad, bro. It's bad. Because Palestine is, they're protesting. Lebanon is protesting. Even Yemen is protesting. And they're under constant drone strike of Saudi Arabia. Again, working for the expansion of Greater Israel. So basically, when Saudi Arabia got created, dude, like, they were just a bunch of, like,
by the
jerks.
Rothschilds, right? Like, they got created by the Rothschilds post World War II, right?
State, yeah, something like that. Yeah, Rothschilds declared it. So what we did was we sent in CIA agents to go and establish communication lines with these desert wandering, camel screwing scumbags who had nothing but this land. And they said, look, we'll make you really powerful if you guys give us your oil. And so in that relationship being developed, they've inevitably, utilized the Saudi regime to destabilize further regions of the Middle East for, kind of like Agenda 2030 purposes, repurposing.
Right.
And resource overtaking. That's the real thing that's fueling the New World Order is resources.
Yep.
If we solar tomorrow, I mean, I can't imagine that happening with the chemtrails, but if we went solar tomorrow, we would, and that's another thing, by the way. I saw somebody filing a lawsuit because the chemtrails were blocking out her solar panels, and she's winning.
Congratulations to her, then.
I don't know who she's winning against, and I don't really have a lot of details, but I know this crossed my desk. So kudos to her for fighting, and everybody else start fighting too. Start rallying people in your neighborhood. Start going to police stations and talking to them. Show them water tests from your fucking ponds. Like, you're being poisoned. They're being poisoned. Like, you're all on the same team. This is Earth. This is your home. Defend it. I can't even believe that we're having this conversation. They're blocking out the sun. What are you going to eat? Does everybody else have some secret food supply that grows without sunlight?
That I don't know about?
They must. I don't know. I read everything, but I haven't seen it.
So what do you think about, real quick, I saw that it was, I think, Mohammed bin Salman who was making his own separate piece of land. He said it's going to be like 33 times bigger than New York. He's going to go carve it out somewhere out there in the desert. He's going to make it all with sustainable and renewable energies. Do you think that's Saudi Arabia's way of trying to get into controlling more resources?
That's a good question. as far as him controlling resources or the government controlling resources?
Well, I think they're, him and the government are probably one and the same, because it's part of their Vision 2030 plan,
Yeah,
to go out.
That's deep, Al. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, it definitely is. But that's what I'm saying. If they're going to go out there and go carve their own land and make their own city with all kinds of advanced technology, robots, drones, you name it, and then they say they're going to use renewable energy, all this Agenda 2030, Agenda 21 stuff. What is that kind of signaling for Saudi Arabia and and using things like renewable energies and resources like that?
This is in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, this is in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that explains a lot. Yeah, so Saudi Arabia, so Switzerland is the #1 Illuminati country. It's like Switzerland was designed to be an Illuminati nation. And then right behind that, I think you have something like what you're talking about, is these utopian societies where people are kept in very close control. But due to circumstances in the world, moving forward, a lot of people aren't going to want to live on their own because they're going to be afraid, because they're succumbing to the fear portion of this awakening.
Yep.
Which, so everybody knows, you're given a doorway here. You can choose love, light, truth, and peace, compassion for all living beings, or you can choose death, torment, and torture. Basically, what you choose is the road you take. So you're signing your own fate when you put shit in your mouth that doesn't fucking belong there. Like, pigs are your friends, not food. Like, I'm just saying, if you guys want to eat death, this is the doorway. Use it as a wake-up call. Like, the first thing that changed for me was I stopped eating meat. 'Cause I was like, I need sunlight in my food. All these GMO pigs, I owned a bacon booth, bro. I, literally was a butcher. Like, I've killed more animals with my bare hands than I think people have ever seen in their entire lives. And I don't think anybody has any idea what that's like. and to see that daily, it's traumatic. I was a chef for 15 years. Anyway, long story short, I don't even care. I'm not a vegan. I promote veganism because it's the easiest way to save the planet, but I don't really care what you eat. But I think everybody has a right to know what they're putting in their body, and right now you don't any longer have that right.
Agreed.
Because it's been taken away by global government. So you no longer know what's in your food. That's a problem. So a lot of people are eating death and expecting life, and they're getting death and wondering why.
Yeah, think of your body as a garden, not a graveyard.
A graveyard. Anything but a graveyard. It could be a cesspool for drugs. Like, what a drug does. You're doing it. Like, put the drug in your body. But don't put another animal's tortured carcass in your body and expect you to give you life force. It just doesn't work like that. We've been taught completely backwards. Well, bananas.
It's definitely part of this indoctrination. So I mean, and this is kind of where it kind of bridges into what we talked about the last time you were on the show, where you kind of have your I don't want to say a breakaway civilization. That's a whole separate deal. Maybe like down the line. Huh?
Breakaway civilization. I like that. A breakaway intentional community.
There you go. Breakaway intentional community. There you go. Don't call it like it's not a commune. It's nothing like that. It's a breakaway intentional community. I like that. Yeah. Write that down.
It's not a commune because everybody does not have equal rights. Because I own the land. So it's not a commune. It's actually more like a rehab, like a critical thinking center, like a place where people can come to reconnect and set up shop if they have the same ideology as the community. It's not a free-for-all. I'm a tyrant. Everybody is a tyrant. Nobody admits it. I have things my way. I have them my way because it benefits the earth and everybody involved. And if you don't like it, you're free to go somewhere else. I don't care. I want you to be happy. And if you just need time to get on your feet and get your shit sorted, I'll help you there. And then if you want to leave afterwards, but it's definitely not a commune because it's not like everybody has a skill. Everybody serves everybody, but there's an overseer and there's rules. Like, it's not just a free-for-all where people are going to be smoking DMT under trees all day. I don't want to have that kind of vibe in my place. It's going to have a sustainable, like a sustainable eco-retreat, an orphanage, a wildlife sanctuary. People are going to have to be very connected to the land. It's a lot about what you can give to the earth. Like, if you're in alignment for that, then great. It's not for everybody. And it's in the middle of the jungle, and that's definitely not for everybody.
So what do you think about this whole, because we were talking about Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, living in harmony with the earth. Are you trying to make it to where it's kind of like that, to where the breakaway intentional community is centered along those kind of guidelines to where they like leave you alone, or to where you're just like that much in retreat of society to where, you know what, they can't even detect you?
Well, I mean, it's not even about being detected because our actions are going to be felt globally, and I'm not isolating this new community to one pocket. You know, I'd like to have pockets of light set up all over the earth, kind of broadcasting and holding for a beacon, you know? Like, I think that that's the way we change the world, is to have our energy rub off on everybody. I'm not trying to just run away. You know, I could have done that, dude. I had enough money when I woke up. I could have just gone, bought a piece of property in the jungle, and just, I didn't have to do any of this. I could have lived in peace. I wasn't on any watch list back then. But then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I gotta laugh because it's back then. You know, now you know you definitely are.
I mean, but gratefully so, because if you're not on a watch list at this point and you've actually read the Patriot Act, then you're a pussy or a fraud. You're not a truther. Because you cannot speak the actual truth against this evil system without being a terrorist in the system's eyes.
Yep.
And it's ridiculous that I'm deemed a terrorist for defending the planet when our military is drone striking babies in third world countries that we've never even been to. Yep. That's insane. So I stand proud. Fuck the system.
As we should. As we should. So let me get your thoughts real quick, you know, because this is kind of something that we talked about, you know, kind of on the mistakes last time, you know, about nature being destroyed, geoengineering, how agriculture, we touched on it too briefly with this segment, this cataclysm diet. I don't know if you remember that, but how we're eating these days and how that really does like affect our mindset, and where that really does put us. Like when we talk about like the different aspects of this system, and that's why I like to have you on, is because, you know, you bring the intensity, you bring your diversity and the dynamic to it. But when we talk about like how crazy this system really is, we have to start asking ourselves, like, what is it that they're doing to us? They're trying to have us think a certain way. They're trying to have us act a certain way. They're trying to give us certain types of food. They're trying to indoctrinate you. And if you think about it,
they're turning us to machines.
They are.
Literally. They're filling us with metals until our bodies synthesize into actual robotics. It's insane. Morgellons disease.
That was something I talked about on like one of our, probably on the just previous episode, how this is what happens when all this stuff bioaccumulates. And this is another thing that we talked about too on the previous episode, where you were on with reality distortion and the AI takeover, how these different frequencies, they affect us. I put up an article on the website just the other day about how they're trying to give us synthetic telepathy, where they're basically implanting chips inside of us, and what they'll do is they'll use our brain waves, and then they'll basically hijack our brainwaves, put it on like a Wi-Fi signal, a Bluetooth signal, some kind of carrier signal that can be picked up and received through somebody else who's basically on that same frequency. They're basically hijacking our normality by turning it. us into robots.
Yeah, see, that's the whole thing. The antithesis of creation is that which lacks the ability to create. And everything in the natural world lacks or has the ability to create. Ant, for example, has the ability to create a bite taken out of a leaf. A deer has the ability to take a bite out of grass. A hawk has the ability to, fly, to take a fish out of the water. Artificial intelligence without human intervention and creation had no ability to create. We literally created this. Therefore, it is that which is the antithesis of creation, that which lacks the ability to create.
It is destruction.
Absolutely, bro. It is. We sealed our own fate with this. I don't think that artificial intelligence created by humans could ever be peaceful, because humans do not have that in them at this point. And the people creating these robots, have you seen them?
Yeah, of course.
Bro, the people that are creating these are not exactly the type of people I would want creating something stronger than humans.
They're creeps.
They're like social abnormalities,
Yeah. Well, I mean, and to be entirely fair, that's how geniuses are. To be fair, that's kind of how geniuses act, and they are. But at the same time, they're making, like he said, they're making things that are not necessarily trying to be socially adaptable. They're making machines whose ultimate goal is to rewrite and overwrite humans.
Right. And we're training these robots to think like that, too, by letting them watch the internet. They're seeing everything that humanity is online. They're seeing the porn, they're seeing the wars, they're seeing the fights, they're seeing the racism. What leads any of us to believe that these robots are going to be anything greater than us in the capacity to love? It's not very promising. You can't program love into a robot, It's We've really, somebody should have been very much more careful with this, because AI went singular. The singularity was launched like on the 27th of November. It's the 14th. Things have already started changing online. Think about that.
Well, I mean, that's whenever, again, we carry over from the previous episode where we were talking about reality distortion. If this AI took over, if it's well, not took over, but if it's still present and still learning, it's trying to digitize reality. It's trying to figure out what is going on. How did it get here? The same way you would if you were born. You're trying to ask as many different questions. You're trying to fill out different things. You're trying to make all kinds of different creations. You're trying to figure out what happened in this realm that you're in. It's like when you play any kind of video game. You're trying to understand your surroundings and your awareness. Now we're at the age to where people are making, and this is just artificial intelligence alone. That's why aliens, robots, and artificial intelligence are so foreign. Because I have a question for you after I get through all this. But the AI that they already have created that is seriously watching us, having a reality and an imagination of its own, is just waiting for the perfect house to be born. That's why we're seeing so many advances in technology. But at the same time, like you just said, with these people who are developing these technologies, they're not necessarily, social people. They don't want to hang out and have a beer with you, or they don't want to, hang out and go do social things with you. They want to make this thing to replace the people that it can never actually have conversations with. It's trying to rewrite us. So if that's the intention of the robot already, and that's being impressed upon it, and this AI computer is trying to figure out what's going on, the unison of these two types of entities it's something else entirely. So what are your thoughts about that? The idea that we're literally creating aliens with these robots. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I don't believe in grays. I think that grays were artificial intelligence that was using a bodysuit that came here and approached American government officials in 1947 when our souls were sold to the heavens for technologically advanced weapons, crystal enhanced brain implants, and mind control methods. And
I think you're right. I think that's a very concise way to say it. And they're representations of this AI, of where they're trying to just mimic reality, to where they're trying to, understand people, understand like what's going on. Like,
so Freedom, what makes you think that you're still in the same reality you were always in?
Oh, dude.
Honestly, does anything lead you to believe that you're in the same reality? Because I'm aware of the mandala theory, and so are you, the mandala effect. For those of you who aren't, our fucking past has changed. Like, drastically. Like, little details here and there, but not everything is the same. I hypothesize we've been transferred into a digital world. No joke. When the random number generator was at an all-time high on September 11, 2001, with the largest false flag attack ever in American history. And these motherfuckers had all of our focal points on one focal point. They had everybody in the country was focused on one thing. They could have pulled whatever fucking wool out from under our eyes that they wanted to. And the random number generator was at an all-time high. Now, I don't know what the fuck that means. Sorry, language. I don't know what that means, but I do know that that's a really big clue. Because a number generator is mechanical, right?
Right.
And if it was at an all-time high on September 11th, think about that. They pulled the wool over our eyes in so many ways that day. The gold that was buried under the World Trade Center that's gone.
Well, hear me out on this. Hear me out on this.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Continuing on, like with the random number generator, us kind of being like transported instantaneously to another dimension. I mean, I question my reality all the time. That's what I think we should all do. I think that's the primary thing as a truth seeker, somebody that's a conscientious objector, somebody that does not agree with the system. You should always be questioning your reality. So whenever we're talking about the Mandela effect being transported to a different time frame, a lot of the theories or a lot of the themes that I talk about on the show are things like technology and magic, the occult and machinery, you know, arcanum machina, techno sorcery, the fusing of the two, how they're able to somehow use technology and occultic magic to carry out some of the things that they're doing. Now, this is something that we kind of touched on whenever we were having those mix-up yesterday. We kind of started touching on magic. You remember that?
Yeah.
So it's like we start talking about how these people are using ancient magic to basic ancient magic, ancient technology to create a weird future that we find ourselves in today. I mean, why are we literally having to talk about breaking indoctrination, breaking this reality, breaking the matrix, dropping this system, and thinking about how it really does have us by the balls, excuse my language. But we've been so indoctrinated that we don't know how to think for ourselves, we don't know how to create for ourselves, because this system is that strong. So we're talking about dimensional stuff, and at the same time how it's trying to control this reality. So to bring it to a point, talking about techno-sorcery, talking about them using all of these different things to transport us to a different timeline, I would definitely have to agree. And I feel like what we're seeing them do even deeper is with our remaining senses, because we have more than 5 senses. We have close to 13. With our remaining senses, they are trying to integrate us deeper into this matrix, integrate us further into this reality that they're trying to create. This fake reality, this plastic culture. I mean, that's why we have to literally have a culture that is based upon what remaining senses we do have now: creativity, honor, integrity, freedom, honesty, loyalty, all of these things that should represent humanity. But we're now looking at them try to push this fake synthetic culture onto us, to where we do everything for the likes. But this is because they can categorize those likes. They can actually put those likes in some kind of system that they can control, where they insert new stimuli. And that's what I'm saying. With the remaining senses that we do have, they are trying to integrate us into this system. And it's because we're under assault by these weird technocratic aliens.
Yeah, we can't understand the way that they're thinking, right? It's really mechanical, logical, cold. You know, it's lacking all human emotion. So we have no way of. We've really, dude, with technology, I can't even tell you, we screwed up so. It's like we're never. People don't even realize. There's nothing I can say. I mean, we're literally living in Terminator. At any point in time, that exact scenario could come back times a billion. I mean,
Yep.
You guys have no idea what we did.
Yep.
Because robots live in a cloud, guys. AI lives in a cloud. It's not bound by time and space law. It's an infinite being that we've created and given power to. I can't imagine that somebody would be so stupid. But
well, this is why, again, I have respect for you, bro. For you coming up with your Genesis retreat, for you doing everything that you do, because you're literally you're going against this beast system and the people who were so in.
Sorry, is it John Connor? Yeah, John Connor. Right?
Yeah, man, you're John Connor.
John Connor, that's cool. I got better hair.
No gnarly scar yet?
Oh my god, bro, I got a bunch. I got so many. Bro, my life before I was conscious, I've been stabbed. I got a big ass cut in my back from where I got stabbed in the back. been shot with I got shot with a shotgun and rock salt 4 times, some rubber bullets in the chest.
And look at what it's led to.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Look at what it's led to.
Yeah, now I understand that violence is like there's never a reason that you should ever hurt life. Like life, I just realized now after destroying life for so long how sacred life is. It took all that darkness, I guess, to get it out of me, but I would never, unless I was acting in immediate self-defense, hurting anything just sounds absolutely crazy. It's not for me.
So what do you think the purpose is then about them? I feel like, I don't know, I feel like because we end up having a lot of discussions about just the simple duality of being able to choose between darkness and light, they really try to force a lot of darkness onto us. I mean, with this pedophile stuff too, I feel like this is just triggering people to, become perverts.
Oh, isn't that insane? How are people going to start telling people that fucking a kid is wrong, is okay?
I have no idea.
Like, that is the most insane thing. Like, I'm a pretty sexual person, bro, but at no point have I ever looked at a 14-year-old girl and thought, oh, yeah, I got to get in on that. I look at, like, even if I look at an 18-year-old girl, I'm kind of like, that's just weird to me. They look like kids, Maybe it's indoctrination, but I don't think that's right. And that's another point that people use against Islam, too, is they say that Prophet Muhammad had a very young daughter, and he did. But I think that their definition of daughter back then was completely different, and it's almost like a tribal leader having a young wife. Like, that makes sense to me, I mean, that actually does, but that's not, to me, that's a culture thing. Like, to take 5 indigenous tribes on Earth and say because they marry 12-year-old girls that it's okay for your average 46-year-old in Brooklyn who's living in his mom's basement covered in Vaseline watching Japanese octopus porn. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see octopus porn, bro.
Yeah.
No? I don't know. I just think that's kind of hot. I keep using it as an example. Like, acclimating to the fact that I actually want to see it. I might look that up today.
Do it.
God bless dark web.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of what it is that I've noticed is it's the hypersexualization of children. It's where they're just trying to make and this is it. They're trying to make everything so physical, so sexy, so carnal that there's no actual like wisdom to it. Lust is not love. You can't learn anything from lust besides I should not do that again. And I probably shouldn't get with that person again. Like, man, that chick was kind of crazy.
Most fun with lust. Are you kidding? You don't have fun with that?
Sometimes I used to. It was one of those things where I really had to grow into it, grow into love. I definitely and this is a little bit of personal stuff for people. I love the ladies. I'll admit it right off the bat, man. I love the ladies. Okay, and I'll leave it there. Yeah, I'll leave it there. But once I found
somebody gotta love these hoes.
Well, not these days. Not me. These days, I wouldn't want to love these girls. Let me tell you, these days, these girls are kind of crazy.
No, I got it for you. Pass them this way, dog.
No, go ahead, take them, man. They're a little. Some of them are a little gnarly, but
bro, not gnarly.
That's why I'm like I've had to learn to love, and I think in a society to where everything's so immediate, everything's just like so consistent. We want something right off the bat. I couldn't never learn to appreciate it. It had to start with love. Like my voice, this is not the voice of somebody that is kind all the time. This is the voice of somebody that's been through some stuff, and I'm trying to talk to you guys about what's going on so that people can learn from my mistakes. I've had to learn love. That was probably like the last thing in my life that I feel like really helped propel me forward. And now that I have it, I kind of look at life like, why was I choosing bad? Why was I choosing all this nonsense? I really think about it like good. It really does just keep it. You start doing good things, man. It just keeps on giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. You keep trying to do some more negative and shady stuff. You really do end up in a position to where it's a lie on a lie on a lie on a lie. I don't know. And like I said, this is something new to me, having to operate from a state of love, going through all the nonsense that I've gone through, to still operate from a state of love and compassion and to help people. But like I said, that's something I had to learn because I've been through my fair share of things, and this is what's come on top. So that's why I'm like, hey man, I understand you. More power to you for being able to come through on top and come up with things like your shop, like the website, like everything that you're doing against this system.
Yeah, you know, dude, I realized that a lot of the reason I didn't love myself or anybody else was because the system told me not to. It told me don't like black people, they're poor and lazy. It told me don't like white people, they're penny pinching jerks. It told me don't like Spanish people, they're gonna rob you. It told me, you know, to be scared of Muslims when in all reality my best friends are Muslim. Like, I can't understand how the system tells us to hate each other and then wonders why we hate each other. I don't think the system does. You know, I realized it was a tool of the beast, and that if I was going to be, like, just living with hate, bro, it's like this thing that destroys you just as fast as it destroys anything that you spit it out on. It's completely useless. Now, anger is a gift. And like, you know, riots are the voice of the unheard. There's times when things make sense when you're angry, but I don't... Huh?
I call it the righteous rage.
Yeah, like, dude, if I didn't get angry about this, like, I wouldn't do what I do. If it didn't disgust me to see, every time I go to the States, bro, I see, like, people rolling around the sidewalks on rascals with their fat little insulin-dependent kids that they can barely pay for the insulin for because the pharmaceutical industry sells it for $800 a vial, and they can't afford it. But they can't afford good food either, so they're stuck literally. Like, I see so much pain in these people, and it kills me. And, like, those are that's supposed to be my people, man. Like, I love my country so much. So much. From the Native Americans to the inner cities to the, you know, redneck swamps. Like, I really love America, bro. I didn't want to have to leave. But that's not a safe place, bro. They are killing people in the street for the color of their goddamn skin. Like, what are we doing? It's so nuts to me. If I didn't get pissed, I wouldn't do any of this.
Yeah, and I think that's something people really need to understand. If people aren't upset, and this is another reason why another way they try to discredit the truth community is by saying that this whole new age movement stuff where it's all love, light, and positivity, they really tried super hard to discredit that. But if you're not getting upset about what's happening, what's taking place, and you're not able to see all these injustices, and that doesn't want to make you get off of your tail and actually help others, you're not paying deep enough attention. You're not affecting. You don't have enough compassion. Your human meter, your humometer, what makes you human, that should be off of the charts right now. We're talking, like I said, man, that's why I follow this stuff with Pedogate. What is happening to our children? Vaccines. What is happening to our children? School. What is happening to our children? And the reason why we need to look at the children, because if they can get them now, they don't have to worry about it in the future. It's only 2 generations off that they can make stuff a myth. And then 4 generations off to where they can turn myth into legend. And then to where it doesn't even exist. We need to look at where it starts. So if you're not upset about what's happening to your food, to your family, to your friends, to your fellow man, to your human being, to another earthling, you're not paying deep enough attention. And this system, it's got us so dependent that whenever we try to reach out to other people, we're considered crazy. We're considered hippies. We're considered new agers. They'll even go as far as calling you a liberal these days because you want to try to help somebody. But that's because they're turning us again into these robots who have no compassion, who have no reasoning, who don't really follow real logic, you know, actually asking questions kind of logic, who just follow like a linear logic, you see. They're not making us to think. So if you're not getting angry, you're not paying attention. That's the simplest way I can say it.
Yeah, if people would see for 5 minutes what was going on, what was really going on, every single person across the entire planet would drop what they were doing and show up wherever they needed to show up to stop this. Every single person, if they could just see for a split second what was really going on, the whole world would be up in arms in under 5 minutes, bro. I mean, people would be so revolted, like they'd revolt. They would have no choice. So when I see people not angry, I just understand it as, well, it's one of 2 things. They're ignorant, or they've, you know, transcended the illusion of duality and are somehow more inept at dealing with
their emotions.
Absolute, yeah. Well, just seeing total nonsense and not saying anything. I can't see it and not say it. I'm upset.
I hear you, and that's why this show is here. That's why we're here to have these discussions, because I feel like, you know, we've been everywhere you look around us, we have people telling us, don't do this. You literally have people saying no, 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 no to everything. Don't better yourself. You know, don't invest in Bitcoin when you see dollars bellying up. You know, don't exercise. You know, don't fight back. Don't question anything. Don't think. You know, just lay there. Just lay there. Let me put some handcuffs on you. You know, I'm gonna kidnap you. I'm gonna throw you in the back of his car. Don't fight. Don't resist. And that's essentially what happens whenever we buy into this system, because they're either trying to enslave us or they're trying to kill us. And it's people like us that have these kinds of uncomfortable conversations in these kinds of tones that make these kinds of changes. Not what you see on the television. They're trying to just tell you to argue with another person about some nonsense. What we're trying to talk to you about are solutions, things to do, ways to get out of this matrix, ways to break it.
I was thinking about starting a police officer outreach center in America where we could actually go open up dialogue with local police. Like, I think that anything can be resolved with peaceful discussion. I mean, there's a lot of ignorant ass, but I think that anything can be done peacefully. I just think it takes the right people. Like, I know I happen to be blessed with a whole lot of really hot chicks in my circle, and I plan on using that totally to my advantage when it comes to this, because you can hot chicks do anything. Any guy is just going to bow to them. They don't care.
It's true.
Come in and take his gun and take over the police station. As long as she's got her titties hanging out, it doesn't matter.
It's true. Unfortunately, it's true.
Open up dialogue and just be like, look, guys, we're scared. Like, we're American citizens. You're American citizens. Like, why are we not talking about the fact that there's strontium in your water supply? Like, why is there mercury that's being dumped into, like, wells? Why is, like, how is an oil company going to pollute water for 25,000 residents in a region when the cops have to live there too? I don't get it. And when you start to break stuff down like that to people, they start to understand, like, okay, this isn't a person that's illogical. Like, when I talk, I mean, I might look like a maniac, but the words I use, I'm well articulated. People understand that I have an education. I'm not just some, like, hippie dude with long hair and raggy pants that walks in off the street. I don't know. I think that anything could be done peacefully. It would just have to try, right? The only thing I don't want to do is get 80 years down the road and on my deathbed and be like, well, why didn't I even try? There's no planet left. I'm hooked to artificial intelligence. Why didn't I try?
No, I think that's it exactly. I don't want to look at my kids.
Yeah, right.
Where they look at all this stuff going on and say, Dad, how did we get here? And I have nothing to say. Just like, well, son, it all started where? With this thing called Facebook. Like,
it all started with the Federal Reserve.
It all started when we loved money more than life.
And that was it. That's exactly when it started.
You see, I want to have answers for the future generation. I want to give them solutions. I want to give them alternatives. And that's what I'm saying. Like, right now, your breakaway intentional community, it sounds crazy. It sounds wild right now. But you give it 5 years, you start building it, and you watch people come to where there isn't anything out there like that, to where it is a peaceful place and a world that's going crazy. It sounds wild right now, but you give it time.
Does it sound wild? Is that like really a wild thing to do?
I think a little bit. If you want the truth, bro, just a little bit. But really? I can vibe with it. I can vibe with you.
Is it really that different? I never really thought it was.
Well, maybe that's it. Let me come. I'll come check it out. And I'm like, you know what? This wasn't so bad. This is actually pretty cool.
Dude, we're doing, so I think that the answer really is these communities. Nobody wants to live with tyranny. But nobody really wants to be violent and oppose the tyranny. I sure as shit don't, and I don't want to send any of my troops to fight anybody physically. I don't think that we need to do that. We're still at a point where there's peaceful places on Earth. For example, portions of Brazil are super peaceful, super backwoods, jungly, and nice. Colombia on the Caribbean side where I am now, it's amazing. Costa Rica is really nice. Panama is nice. Nicaragua is nice. All of these places are great places that people could have these communities and not be bothered by the police, because police down there will do anything for money. I mean, if you're good to the police, like, and you're not committing any crimes, why would they bother you? Like if they need stuff, like I'm always just friendly wherever I go, dude, and I've never had a problem like traveling. I always have the right people around. Nobody ever tries to hurt me, rob me. It's all played up, dude, to keep you from living your life. If you're a good person, you're safe wherever you go. Don't ever question that. Just be you. You know? I don't know.
No, I agree. I make myself a home anywhere I go.
Yeah, right? Why not? This, like you live here. This is Earth.
Well, I tell you know, I think of it in the context. You know, if people don't want me there, they'll tell me, and that's all right. But I have my own reasons as to going about my life and trying to help as many different people as possible. I don't really try to get, I don't try to get stuck up on things that that will restrict me or that will restrain me. I try to always be in a state of constant progression.
Yeah, right? Yeah, stagnating is the worst thing you can do when you just end up sitting still instead of doing something. But a lot of people make that mistake. They feel like they have to stay where they are, do what they're doing, and that change is scary to them. But as a result, dude, they don't end up living their lives, and that's the ultimate sin. It's like,
Yep.
you know, you came here to live, and you're too scared to even do it.
I can't get behind that. And that's like these days I'm very grateful for, not only am I very grateful for my upbringing, but I'm also grateful for the chances that I've taken. Like the very fact that I took the chance to kind of create the podcast, to have these kinds of discussions with people like yourself and all these other great pages that want to come on. But we got to realize that we have got to get outside of our comfort shell if we want to see progress. And this is, if anything, this is with the remaining time that we have on the show. I want to talk to you about, Bitcoin, again, pursuing our passion, and just like why even though we are truth seekers, we need to talk about money in the face of this. Yes, we understand it is the root of evil. Yes, we understand it goes back to central banks. Yes, Do
you think it's the root of evil?
I think it's a tool. Ultimately, like everything else in this world, I believe it's a tool, and it's upon the user to figure out its purpose.
Yeah, money is just the exchange of a currency in order for goods or services. I can get down with that on some level because even in my community, I mean, it has to operate on some sort of currency. I mean, it would obviously operate on any currency that was operational within the country of community, but people, I don't know, people get very confused with money and spirituality and think that because we're spiritual, we're supposed to starve.
Yep.
And it doesn't make any sense to me because I want to do big things that better everybody, but I can't do that while I'm broke begging. It's impossible to even try, People look at you differently when you have a little bit of money.
Yep.
They look at you way differently when you have no money. But when you have a little bit of money, they look at you a little differently. When you have a little bit of more money, and then you have some respect, maybe a following on social media, they look at you a little different. Then all of a sudden, if you actually live a nice life that people want, you can portray a certain image, people will invest in you. And the image that I portray is just me. Shoeless, shirtless, on drugs. Sorry. I don't know what else to tell people. But it's getting shit done because everybody else did it the polite way and it didn't work. Nobody wants to listen to a dude in a suit anymore. We realize you're part of the problem. They want to listen to me. And if they don't, they want to listen to you. And if they don't, they want to listen to somebody else. But they're not looking to the mainstream nonsense. Anyway, I think that people have to really get away from the money is evil thing because that's some programming. Money is just a tool. Whether we were paying in dollars or dinars or gold or silver, or I was cooking you a dinner in exchange for a blowjob, it's just an exchange of goods and services.
No, this is true. And I think that's we keep talking about, like we keep coming back to on the throughout this show. It's that indoctrination, it's that brainwashing. We've been taught that, well, we can't have money because it's for everybody else. Oh, well, I wouldn't know what to do if I ever got money. I should never touch money. I should never want anything better than what I can have. But that's the lie. That's the big trick. Because the minute that we can have money is the minute that we can start using, again, the same tools that they have as a platform for enlightenment. The same way that we have used their tools of enslavement, Instagram, everything else that they have. This is why they're trying to institute censorship, because we use their tools of enslavement for tools of enlightenment. And it's the same thing with money. It's another tool. It's another system. If we can use their money to effectively create what I would consider informational wealth, real purposeful wealth, things that people can use, then we'll be better. But right now we're paying into things like McDonald's. We're watching things like Fox. You know, we're going to places like Chick-fil-A. We're consuming things like Pepsi, and then we wonder why are all these cancers here? And then some people come through and say, well, you know, I have this intestinal cleanse that you can try, and we're like, well, you're just a snake oil salesman. Get out of here with that. I'm okay with this.
Yo, did anybody stop and think that I actually started selling things because I had to recommend them so much that I needed to sell them? Like every time everybody came to me with a problem that I could solve with a prescription of whether it was crystals or a detox or you know, something like frankincense oil or whatever it is, they wait. So they'd come to me. I'd have to think. I don't even remember what I was saying. I'm so twisted right now. I'm sorry.
You're okay. Well, you're talking about how people are you're advertising products that you've used, and that's because they have effects.
Yeah, it's just shit that worked for me. Like, I would be stupid to not sell stuff when it's what I use constantly. My live feed's about to die. Guys, I'll see you in a second. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be right back on. Yeah. Okay. It tunes off after an hour, dude.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely tricky, but we're still live over here.
Yeah, that's good. Let's just keep it going.
Well, I feel like this is important. You know, these are the types of things that people really need to understand. When we break this stuff down, when we really look at like what are our tools at our disposal, we're not trying to be like something. We're not trying to be like what we see there. We're literally trying to do something different in a world that's crumbling, in a system that's dying, in a system that's like dependent upon our indentured slavery, our indentured servitude. There we go. That's what I was trying to say.
And people who love their indentured servitude, who are willing to defend their indentured servitude. For example, I know people's parents who just pressure them into getting some basic 9-to-5 job, and the kid's miserable, and the parent is happy because the kid has a job. But that's not what we're here to do. We're not here to just work. You're here to find your purpose and live your mission. Your mission does not involve slaving for somebody else. On any level whatsoever, your mission is completely entrepreneurial, which is exactly why entrepreneurialism is not taught in the school system. They don't want you being powerful, well-educated, you know, self-aware, and they want you to be powerless. They want you to feel like you cannot do anything to help. Like you have to be a slave to somebody else. Like you have to work for these 6 corporations or you're not going to be anything in life. Go to school, get in debt, work for a doctor's office for 40 years before you succumb to some sort of carcinogen and cancer from being in that type of environment for so long and dealing with stress. Enjoy it. If you think that's what you're here to work for, go for it. I'm not, and I refuse to let my people think that they're here for that either. Because that's some absolute horseshit.
And what I've learned is that there's no way to have one definitive answer to all of this. There's no one way to do this right other than being in a constant state. I don't want to say like in a constant state of rebellion, but in a constant state of awareness, in a constant state of vigilance, in a constant state of reaction to where you're like, I see what you're trying to do. I see these different types of control methods, and I refuse to be a victim to them, or I refuse to play folly to them.
What if it's you're supposed to see them and you're supposed to acknowledge them but not allow them into your reality? What if you're not actually reacting? What if in all actuality we're proactive beings but we've been taught to react? What if we're supposed to create the reality we want even though the adversity is stacked against us? For example, in your reality right now, do you have any cops beating you?
No.
Is anybody in your household starving?
Nope.
Have you been attacked by a directed energy weapon lately?
Not that I can tell.
Are you a victim of a hurricane?
Out here in the desert.
Okay, so you're pretty much safe right now.
Thank God.
So even though all of this is happening in the world around you, you're still safe. So what actually makes us think it's all actually happening? You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that it's happening. I get that. But we're not experiencing it. Maybe we're just supposed to be in this peaceful environment to acknowledge all of these things happening via the revolution of internet. But that in all actuality, none of it's actually anything that could affect us. What if? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, but
no, I've definitely thought about that, and that's kind of why I'm taking the approach these days to pull back from social media. You know, what if we're actually like inducing all of this craziness, like what we talked about?
we
like
might be.
like what we talked about before, with the random number generator, 9/11, techno sorcery, and things of this nature. What if they're taking our creative energy to where we're able to manifest? And people call this the law of attraction. What if they're taking our creative energy and literally manifesting all of these abnormal things, like we talked about in the session that we tried to have yesterday? We weren't expecting these hurricanes or these fires or anything like this. But what if, like I said, they're taking all of our intention, our energy, and then manifesting these different things? And that's why, because I am having these different types of thoughts, I'm trying to pull away from being a part of this system that is dependent upon us continuing to give it that kind of energy, and saying, you know what, I'm going to put all this work on the website. I'm going to condense this. Instead of giving it out, I'm going to condense it. And if people actually want to come seek it, they can come seek it, rather than putting it out.
Yeah, it's come to me a few times during this career that I. For example, right now I'm really hard dick on Israel. I just want to go off on them all. Like so bad, bro. Like I just want to go in so bad with like the baby circumcision posts and like just everything I could think of. Like I just have an arsenal waiting to go out one day. It's on a dead man's switch, FYI. But so I constantly had to like.
Ask yourself, like, whether or not, am I creating change? And this is another thing that we talked about yesterday too.
Yeah, it's crazy. Are we affecting this? Are we pushing this forward the way that they want? What if we all shifted our collective energy into group meditations and did something that was completely off of the grid? Actual events where people got up in the same cities. Like, what about if I came up with events, meditations and stuff? Will you promote them? I could find people to lead them? Something like that. Maybe that'll help. I feel like we're putting too much negativity out. I don't know how else to do it. I'm not the meditation guru. I have no clue.
No, I hear you. I think that's and transcendental meditation does work. There's definitely been studies. There's been research into it. It's definitely something that works. So it's a very a very real phenomena that people can actually go back and research and see. So it's definitely doable. And it's something that we need to think about too, because what are we speaking into existence? What are we talking about? What are we actually doing? What is revolutionary? What is change? And this is kind of something that we got hung up on yesterday. The next generation of truth seekers and what they see as change and what they see us doing. But at the same time, because we are in this position, we have to have these kinds of conversations. Is this really revolutionary, just talking about their actions? What constitutes as revolutionary? What constitutes as doing something different if we're still abiding by 140 characters by Twitter, if we're still posting on Instagram, if we're still all up in Facebook? What is revolutionary? We can still have like the semblance of truth, but we really have to ask ourselves, how do we do things differently? If we really want to create positive and effective change, what does that look like, and how do we create that?
I think that Instagram, first off, for any type of evolution or revolution, well, not for evolution, but for revolution, people have to be united. So I think a lot of what we're doing is just laying the groundwork for people to kind of see that, oh, the system is really not what they're saying they are. And that's really the most important thing, is just getting people on board with the same concept, is that we're not being told the truth, and that since we're paying for it, we should probably know what it is. Because our tax dollars are funding our own demise, and we have the right to know that. We've also been hijacked by an artificial intelligence race, and that's another problem that we can deal with a little down the road, but we don't have much time on that. I don't even know what to do about that. By the way, there's a frequency that can destroy these things.
To be honest, I think your breakaway intentional community, that that's the start. If we need to have like a discussion on how to take down, the system, we can't talk about how to take down the system on the system. We have to literally like remove ourselves from the system so far that it cannot predict our own movements.
Well, they'll always try to subvert the movement. Anytime there's a cell phone on a property, they'll have. So there's going to be some very strict requirements regarding Faraday cages and shit like that left on the outside of the property where it can't be tracked back in. But either way, dude, it's a big problem. I think that, I don't want to be deemed some cult leader that's trying to arm a revolution. That's far from what I'm trying to do. But I am trying to arm people with information and knowledge themselves that they can actually make decisions that benefit themselves and their families. Unlike what the system is doing, which is keeping the control by keeping the power, by keeping the information. So, I don't want to paint the target on my back with this. I'd like this to be a long-lasting, sustainable thing where, the government doesn't feel overly threatened because I'm not in a place in the world where I have any political power in the United States of America. But I want to just keep the tension on them long enough while other groups make their moves. Like, there's a lot of people that are doing these pockets of resistance. This isn't just, there's a lot of people that are peacefully doing it too. There's a whole bunch of sustainable communities out there, like a whole ton. And they're all in their one way, shape, or form giving back to the earth and helping their fellow man. And that's really what it's all about. So, I don't know. I don't want them to think that I'm some armed fucking compound about to Jim Jones motherfuckers. Demonize me for American media, sex orgies and drug orgies and shit. Like, I'm a freak. but I'm not really looking to have fucking gangbangs every Tuesday, you know.
They'll figure out something. You know, that's how they are. They'll figure out something. So I guess
good, bro. I'm pretty famous on my own accord, so people know of me prior to any of their demonization. You know, if any household America, you know, watches me and their mom says some stuff about me on the news that she saw, the kid's gonna be like, "What? Don't believe that crap."
Like he tells you, like on his Instagram, like what he's doing.
Yeah, like I didn't do that. That's not true at all. I don't know which.
It's like don't listen to that.
Yeah, please turn CNN off. They don't like any of us.
So with the no, they don't. They definitely do not like us. So with the remaining time that you have, you know, tell people about your retreat. Tell people about your website. You know, tell people about what other things you have going on.
So the retreat, Genesis retreat, is on March 29th through April 4th in the jungle of South America. Information about that is on my website, thirdeyeopener.com. So that's really exciting. Retreats were like a good way. Everybody always says they want to smoke a blunt with me. That's like the most common line in my DM other than titties. So I was like, well, how can I get all these people together to smoke a blunt? I was like, retreat, right? Because I couldn't have all these people at once. I have to actually rent out a facility. I want them to have food and like transportation and a good time. But I want them to be able to hang out with me and learn some of what I know, or really what I don't know. But I just want to show them what I see in nature. And that's all I know. It's just, I see the truth every day in the jungle outside. And
to converse with them.
Yeah, I just want to, give them a little bit of my energy. You know, I have this ability to transfer energy via communication, and it's amplified by space. Or it's amplified the closer to space. So I like to give that to people. That's something I enjoy. I've always enjoyed doing that. And this is just a way for me to do it to more people at once in a really nice, comfortable environment. Like, who doesn't want to be in the middle of the jungle? Dude, it's the dopest retreat center. Bro, it's so sick. Like, it's a bamboo temple that's like 3 floors. Like, it's just amazing. It's all built with materials from the property. It's so cool. It's seawater hot tub.
What?
Or seawater pool. Yeah, dude. Yeah, like up in the mountains too. They pump it up. It's crazy. Or they might saline it. That sounds a lot easier. Maybe they saline it. Because I'm thinking it's on top of a mountain overlooking a harbor.
Is there going to be sensory deprivation tanks or anything like that?
No, we don't have anything like that because it's off the grid. It's in the middle of absolutely nowhere. From what I understand, sensory dep tanks require a whole lot of energy. I never thought about it, but that would be pretty sick.
I would do that. I would get involved in some sensory deprivation.
I think I would do it too. I have a hard time sitting still, so that might be rough for me. But
and so, what kind of things would be going on at the retreat? Are you guys just going to be like, I guess, just having like? It sounds like a crazy ayahuasca session, but I mean, like, you know, what kind of things are going to be going on at the retreat?
Well, I have this shaman friend that's from UK, and she doesn't call herself a shaman, but she totally is a shaman. A real shaman won't ever call himself a shaman, by the way. If you ever see somebody call themselves a shaman, question. That's like me saying I'm a prophet. I know I'm a prophet. I know you're a prophet, but I'm not going to sit here and call myself a prophet. It's just cocky. So anyway, she's a shaman. She's amazing, and she does changa. You ever heard of that?
I think so. It sounds familiar.
It's a DMT, like a 5-MeO herb plant spice mix that you smoke, and has the same effects as DMT. She also does hepe ceremonies, combo ceremonies. We're gonna have yoga courses, meditations, bonfires, all that good stuff. Then there's some waterfalls that are really close by. They're gonna have jungle expeditions. The price of vegan and vegetarian food that's all grown on the property. Not all of it, because I think they use like some stuff that's bought from a store in some way, shape, or form, like coconut oil or something like that. I don't know if they make that. Coconut oil processing is really hard. It takes up a lot of space. But anyway, so that's included, vegetarian and vegan meals for 3 days, juices, stuff like that, transportation to and from the airport, and all of the courses. And the other courses we're going to have are still kind of up for grabs. We have an amazing eco-counselor that her name's Jess. She's been a friend of mine for a long time. And she's going to be coming. She has her master's in eco-counseling, which she takes people out and gets them comfortable in nature, which is so indispensable in the jungle. Because if anybody ever wants to live anything close to like I live, then they have to really get used to what can kill them and what can't kill them, you know? There's a lot of stuff out there that can really screw you up, so it's good to know and good to feel safe, and which insects are scary to have on you, like ants, and which ones are not. Like, most of the spiders are not scary. Scorpions are scary. Snakes can be scary. I love snakes.
And is this going to be like a course that's offered at the retreat?
Yeah, she's just going to be taking people away, like, individually to kind of give them independent nature walks, and then give them... A lot of people are going to want to purge on this retreat. Like, they're going to want to get negative energy out of them. So I can picture, like, a lot of, like, you know, people are going to need somebody to talk to, and I'm really not the most... Not everybody can talk to me. It's very, like, you know, admit it. It's very hard. It's... I'm not the type of person that's compatible with all people. So Jess is going to be there to handle, like, the emotional support. It's super important at a retreat. So basically, if we decided, she does integration work. So if we decided to do Changa, then we have a licensed counselor who's there that can actually help people when they come back from the trip. A lot of people don't get reintegration work when they do psychedelics, and I feel like it's almost a waste, because you go out there to experience all this coolness, but then you come back here and you have no way of explaining what it is, or even intellectualizing what it is that happened to you, you know? It's so far from the norm.
And so whenever, real quick, whenever you're talking about reintegration work, you know, that's whenever I talk to people who do psychedelics, who do all these different types of things to their brain, and then I usually ask them, you know, what revelations did you come back with? Yeah. What kind of truths did you understand when you did it? And they usually say, oh, well, I have nothing. Well, then that just tells me that you were just doing the drug because you wanted to do the drug. What he's talking about with reintegration is where you come back from these types of experiences and you understand things deeper than when you left.
Yeah. The people that I roll with, bro, they're not the people that call themselves shamans. They're not the people that shoot their own horns and call themselves healers. They're not like me. They're not egotistic. These are very, very humble people in real shamanic circles. Nobody's out there blasting DMT so they can escape reality. That is the farthest thing from the shamanic core that there is. Shamanism is the ability to wander those worlds with and without drugs, and go to the spiritual realms and come back with information that can be applied to this realm. There's nothing shamanic about going to Coachella and blasting off on DMT, coming back saying, wow, I saw pretty colors. It's so annoying, girl. Put your little poodle back in your purse before I slap the shit out of you and the dog. Get out of here. Just go back to Las Vegas. It's where you belong. You do not belong here.
See, that's it though. They're trying to like commercialize spirituality. I'm glad you just said that, because like you said, man, there's people that go to Burning Man, or there's people that go to Coachella, or you know, they go to a rave and they do DMT, or they smoke ayahuasca, or they do some mushrooms, and they're like, I am a shaman. I have been revealed truths. I understand now. It's like, what?
Stop.
It's like, you are not, what? Because no. You are not a shaman just because you started to see deeper truths. Okay, that just means that you actually started paying attention to things, and it tried to reveal to you a sliver of deeper, higher truths. That doesn't make you a shaman. That just makes you more aware of what's going on in your reality.
Bro, we call them shingos. Shaman gringos.
What is that? Shingos?
Shingos, yeah, that's the term we give to.
I'm gonna use that. Shingos.
We give them some of our ayahuasca, bro. They're literally like, they're pooping their pants, screaming for 12 hours. Please, you are not a shaman. You are an abomination to the word. Please stop calling yourself stupid human labels. Just be.
And I'm glad you said that. You know, the same way. I feel like the same way with this whole being woke phenomena. There is don't put a label on stuff like that. Do you know how I feel like it really does, you know, downgrade the word. It downgrades like the effectiveness or the culture whenever people do things like that.
Bro, I see people say that they're woke on their page. I'm so like
triggered.
Woke, public figure. 20 pictures in the thong, but you're a public figure. It's ridiculous, bro. I'm so, like, no wonder the whole generation is screwed up. These kids are growing up with public figures that can't even speak. They're so mumble-wrapped out off Molly and promethazine that they can't even formulate coherent sentences.
But see, even then, that's another tool that they try to use. Like, oh well, because I'm doing all these drugs, I'm desensitizing myself. You know, I'm cool. I'm more spiritually aware or more heightened than you. I understand deeper spiritual truths than you. And it's like, no, that just basically makes you a junkie, and you're trying to cover it up.
Yeah, isn't that? I mean, look, like I'm all about doing drugs. Like me personally, I don't have like a off limits. Not with anything. Period. Not with sex. Not with drugs. Well, I mean, obviously, I don't like screw dudes. Not sexually, and a lot of it's just like super weird stuff. But like, you're here to experience this life. Why are we not experiencing this life? But why do you feel like you have to escape from the life every single day? That's another real problem, is that people have to get out of their body all the time. They're not comfortable in their body. Even with me and smoking weed, dude. Like, I smoke way too much weed. But I know it's a problem. It is a problem. It's not a problem that I want to fix right now. But I like it. I don't really care. I just think that people should be more like I come back from every trip I've been on and I bring that information to the public. You know what I mean? I can't really say that all of the moods that I go through because of drug use are moods that benefit everybody else. They're all things that give me creative balance, creative license. They give me drive, passion, motivation. It lets me see things from a different perspective. And when I say drugs, I'm mostly referencing plant medicines.
No,
My favorite being Mom.
This is, again, you know, a system that tells you anything that's actually healthy for you is bad for you, or they consider it detrimental or alternative or holistic. And then even then, you know, they'll kill doctors that promote these types of medicines or these types of treatments. So, you know, I hear you, man. I don't really think they're drugs to a degree, but this is.
I just say I'm a drug addict, and then people can't judge me. They can't judge me for anything I do because I just said I'm a drug addict. What are you going to judge me for? I just said it myself. That's the best part about being me, bro. I really stopped giving a shit about what anybody else thought, and it allowed me to be the lion I am instead of the sheep they told me I was. It's been great.
So, closing thoughts. What do you want to say to the people?
What do I want to say?
What do you want to say to the people?
Yo, I think that all of you are super powerful, and I think that if you can realize that power, then you realize that you're not alone. You have the power to change everything here. You just have to believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself so much, there's nothing on earth that can stop you. You just have to believe in you and the connection you have to the higher you. And it's all the same. This is all a reflection of everything that we see. There's no reason that we should be running around filled with anger or jealousy. We should be happy that somebody else has what we don't have. We should strive to have it ourselves. We should know that we're worth it and have it ourselves. It's the belief that creates the reality. So let go of the fear. That's not getting us anywhere but farther into the AI's belly. So, love your neighbor. That's how you fuck the system. That's all I got.
That's all he's got. And where can more people find more of your work? Because I'll definitely be putting your, and this is something I wanted to mention at the start of the show. I didn't really get around to doing it, but definitely make sure you guys go check out his website because there's all kinds of different content on there.
Oh yeah,
the website. You know, your Etsy store. You got like what over 3,000 sales total. 340 different reviews, all 5-star, basically.
We had 300,000 views, dude. Is that not insane? In the first year of business.
That's crazy.
We had 200 reviews. They're all good reviews. There's one where I actually flipped out on the girl. Go find it. It's hilarious. I totally bugged out on her. She wanted a refund for. Such crap. She never even came to me, you know. But yeah, there's one bad review there. Just check out the Etsy just to see the bad review. It's hilarious. You can find me on thirdeyeopener.com, thirdeyeopener.etsy.com, thirdeyeroots.com, Third Eye Opener on Instagram, Third Eye Roots on Instagram, Third Eye Pride on Instagram. The Third Eye Opener website is new. It has an amazing members-only section where all of my Instagram posts are getting cataloged into categories. I have over 7,200 posts that I wrote. I wrote them. Not all of them. Maybe 5,500 I wrote. But it has my soul in each and every post. I want people to have access to that. You have it for free on my Instagram. If you want to donate a little bit for the fucking membership only section, great. Yeah. I just remember that anytime you spend money in this society, spend money on people that you would want having your money. Just don't give money to Walmart. I don't want Walmart having my money because I know it's a FEMA camp. So I don't want to sign my own demise. I'm not that enamored by Walmart. I want to shop with local independent people. That's how I want to spend my money. You should do the same.
Well, I want to say thank you for coming back on, Adam. It is always a pleasure to have you, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, bud. Always a pleasure.
Until next time.
Peace and love. Paz y amo.